Superstar Dolph Ziggler, and you're watching Bretto.
What is going on, guys? Bretto Live back with another video, and today we have the Week in Review, episode 83. We're going to start off with Monday Night Raw. This is where we go over Raw and SmackDown in a setup style. I tell you guys what happened. I tell you guys what I thought about it. So without further ado, let's do it. Starting off over here, it was Shayna Baszler versus Lana in the first one-on-one women's match. It ended with Shayna Baszler tapping out Lana, and then Nia Jax is like, you know what, I want to put her through the announcer's table. But Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke were luckily on commentary, preventing that from happening, and then that all ended pretty boring. Later in the show, it was Asuka versus Nia Jax in a one-on-one women's match as well, and then it ended in disqualification. Shayna Baszler ran in, kicked Lana in the back because Asuka was about to tap out Nia Jax. But Shayna did not want that to happen, so she made the match an entire disqualification. But then it ended with Asuka. Asuka escaped just in time because it ended with an all-out battle. And then in the end, Nia Jax ended up slamming Lana through the announcer's table for an 8th friggin' time. Can you guys believe it? An 8th time. I do not think Lana's going to be on the Raw team. I think she somehow is not going to be medically cleared or something. They're going to change Lana to somebody else. But other than that, pretty boring. Moving over here, it was Jeff Hardy versus Elias versus Matt Riddle in a triple threat match to determine the final member of the Raw men's team for Survivor Series. In the end, I'm actually kind of surprised. I thought they were going to give it to Jeff Hardy. They gave it to Matt Riddle. And I'm actually pretty happy about that. Oh, wait a minute. I shouldn't say Matt Riddle. Riddle. Yeah, they changed his name, guys. It should be Matt Riddle. I mean, the Matt was not hurting anything. It was not hurting anyone. It was not hurting anything. They should have just kept it Matt Riddle. But anyways, guys, he's Riddle now, and yes, he did win that triple threat match, and I'm pretty happy about that. Not a bad triple threat match, not the best, but not bad. And then later in the show, it was Matt Riddle and Keith Lee versus Sheamus and Braun Strowman in a tag team match with AJ Styles as the special guest referee, team captain. Heck yeah, AJ Styles is definitely the team captain of this team. He really knows how to gel them together. He's honestly doing a really good job. Up until this tag team match, Sheamus actually bro-kicked his own tag team partner off the apron. And then somehow Keith Lee and Matt Riddle were able to pick up the victory over Sheamus and Braun Strowman. Can you guys freaking believe that? And then AJ Styles raised both of their hands. I'm like, ooh, this is pretty cool. This is probably my only thing that I'm liking about Monday Night Raw in this episode. I'll talk about the rest, but this is really good. I'm liking this men's Survivor Series team. I think it's pretty freaking cool. Moving over here is Bobby Lashley versus Titus O'Neil, for the United States Championship. Kind of boring, obviously, as you guys would expect. Bobby Lashley did pick up the victory with the Hurt Lock on Titus O'Neil. Titus O'Neil tried to break it, but it didn't really work out too well. He ended up tapping out, and still United States Champion Bobby Lashley. Again, kind of boring. Moving over here, R-Truth, he had a 7-man match, a 7-man fatal 7-way, and it was for the 24/7 championship. You had Drew Gulak, Akira Tozawa, Eric, Remy Malik, Lindsay Dorado, and Tucker. Man, they turned Tucker heel, and you're not going to give him a push. I don't understand that. But other than that, somehow R-Truth in the end literally got his 24/7 championship back after almost every single one of these people got it. Eric got it. Akira Tozawa got it. Drew Gulak got it. Tucker, I think, got it. Almost all of them got it. But then in the end, R-Truth was able to pick the 24/7 championship back up for like a 44th time. Honestly, 24/7 championship is boring. It's not funny. I don't know what Mr. Man sees in it, but I don't think it's cool at all. Moving over here, Mustafa Ali versus Ricochet, and I think this match could have been way friggin' better. I mean, it's Mustafa Ali and Ricochet, like, oh my gosh, but I think Retribution had a big factor in this match, making it not reach its full potential, if you guys know what I mean. But yeah, in the end, Ali tapped out. Well, no, he didn't really tap out, but he passed out Ricochet in the center of the ring with a little headlock / arm lock on Ricochet, making him sleep and fall asleep, basically. So yeah, that was a little boring. They definitely could have had that match way better, but yeah, it just did not live up to the full potential. Pretty boring match, if you ask me. Moving over here, it was Drew McIntyre and the New Day versus John Morrison, The Miz, and Randy Orton. Randy Orton didn't get into this match once. He wants to save himself. He wants to make him fresh for next week on Raw when he goes up against Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. Yes, that match was made. Oh my gosh, could that be the title that changes before Survivor Series? We never know. But yeah, guys, in the end of this match, as I said, Randy Orton never even got in this match. It was basically a 3-on-2 handicap match with Morrison and The Miz. But yeah, in the end, Drew McIntyre hit the Claymore kick on John Morrison. This wasn't a half-bad tag team match, not going to lie. It wasn't bad at all. But as I said, Orton didn't even get in the ring once, man. Honestly, very, very smart. Because as I said, he's going to be fighting Drew next week. Why waste your time in this match that doesn't mean anything when the WWE Championship match is next week? But yeah, Drew McIntyre, Yeah, picked up the victory for the team, and then that's how that ended. Not a bad moment right there. And then last but certainly not least, The Fiend. Alexa Bliss chose The Fiend over Nikki Cross. Yeah. Interesting. But yeah, that was just a little backstage segment that they had. She's like, Nikki Cross is like, hey, The Fiend or me? And Alexa Bliss is like, I choose him. I'm like, oh boy. But yeah, guys, those Monday Night Raw. In the end, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Not the best show. Kind of boring. But yeah, now we're going to get into SmackDown. And moving into SmackDown, same thing, setup style. Let's jump right on into it. Starting over here was a qualifiers match. It was a fatal 4-way. Liv Morgan versus Tamina versus Natalya versus Chelsea Green. Yes, Chelsea Green's debut on SmackDown here, and it did not really go too well for her. She kind of got buried. I think if I was counting right, she only really got like 3 or 4 moves in the entire match. Otherwise, she was outside of the ring with Tamina, doing absolutely nothing. But yeah, in the end, Liv Morgan ended up picking up the victory, so she's going to join her tag team partner Ruby Riott on the women's Survivor Series team. So I guess that wasn't a half bad match. Otherwise, pretty boring. Moving over here, it was Otis versus Dolph Ziggler. And this match was like a little weird because I'm like, wait, I thought we were done with this rivalry. And ever since the Tucker heel turn on Otis, I'm like, oh, they're going to make something pretty good out of this. And then they just haven't even brought it up. Well, they brought it up obviously, but it's just like where we should be seeing a rivalry between Tucker and Otis. But yeah, I guess they're bringing back Dolph Ziggler and Otis one-on-one match. I guess Robert Roode tried to get involved, but then he kind of backed down because he got a little intimidated by Otis, and then Otis hit a frog splash right off the top there, and then boom, 1, 2, 3, took out Dolph Ziggler. A pretty boring moment, to be honest with you guys. And over here, it was Rey Mysterio versus the Monday Night Messiah, Seth Rollins, in their final chapter match. So I really hope this is the final time we ever see Seth Rollins versus Rey Mysterio in a one-on-one match. Not a half-bad match at all. They had some pretty decent moves all the way up until the ending, where Rey Mysterio, with the help of the Disciple Murphy, and of course a little bit of help from the Mysterio family, was able to take out Seth Rollins, the Monday Night Messiah. And then right after that, of course, as I said, Rey Mysterio winning. Very happy about that. Rey Mysterio doesn't really normally win too many matches, but I'm glad that he was able to take one here against Seth Rollins in the end. He's like, you know what, Buddy Murphy, shake my hand, and then you could have my daughter, I guess. So I guess Aaliyah and Buddy Murphy are officially together, which is interesting. Shook his hand and everything, and he also shook Dominic's hand, and he also hugged Mama of the Rey Mysterio family. So that was a little interesting. You know, after all the history between Buddy Murphy and them, I don't really see how they could make up that easily. But hey, it's totally fine, and I guess they will live happily ever after. Not until, no, but yes, next week Seth Rollins did request a match against Buddy Murphy one-on-one. So yes, it's over with Rey Mysterio, but it's not over with Buddy Murphy because he turned on him. Not a half bad moment. Moving over here, Sami Zayn versus Apollo Crews, Intercontinental Championship on the line. Yes, brand new Intercontinental Championship, by the way. Could finally debut that here in the Week in Review setups. But yeah, Sami Zayn, Apollo Crews, Intercontinental Championship on the line. Very, very boring match. Very IQ ending though from Sami Zayn. He like hooked Apollo Crews' leg up in like the metal ropes of that hold down the ring mat, and then he was able to hop back in the ring and beat the 10 count, and then Sami Zayn won by count out. So that was a little interesting. I didn't really see Apollo Crews winning anyway, but that way I'm like, okay, yeah, a little weird. Moving over here, it was Sasha Banks coming out basically celebrating. I think she was about to call out Carmella until Bayley interrupted, and then right after that, I'm not sure if Bayley and Carmella are in cahoots with each other and like working together maybe, but right after Bayley came out, a little distraction, Carmella from behind, a kick to the face, just like last week, so very repetitive here. And I'm not a big fan of Carmella at all. I did not like her as a face. I'm not liking her as a heel right here. She's just boring overall. Like literally, I don't know if it's just me, but I think she's very, very boring. And as you guys would expect, I did not like that moment at all. Moving over here, it was Drew McIntyre versus Jey Uso. You guys are like, wait a minute, it's SmackDown. Drew McIntyre, yes, he made his appearance in the beginning of the show, confronting Roman Reigns, and then Jey Uso came out without Roman Reigns' consent and asked for a match to take out Drew tonight, and then that happened. It was Jey versus Drew in the main event of the show, and it did not work out too well for frickin' Jey Uso, you guys could say. Drew McIntyre, he took him out with a Claymore kick, and then right after that, he went outside of the ring because, of course, I know Drew's not champion yet, but if he beats Randy Orton on Monday Night Raw, he will be facing Roman Reigns at Survivor Series. So this is pretty freaking cool, and I really like how they, gave us a little sneak peek just in case Drew wins, and right after the match, Reigns is like, if you win that title, kind because Roman wanted Drew to like make a name for himself, because Reigns is like, you know what, I'm back, you're nothing anymore. But then after the match, after he took out Jey Uso, he's like, you get the title and we'll go face to face. Not half bad at all. That was a pretty decent match, pretty decent way to end the show. But yeah, otherwise, guys, not a half bad SmackDown show. In the end, I'm probably gonna give a SmackDown a 7 or 6. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Pretty weak. Yeah, but yeah, guys, that was the weekend review for this week. Not the strongest weekend review of all time. Let me know what you guys thought about the shows down in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bretto Live out.